So this topic was coming up today, right, about guardian ad litems in general. In this particular situation, I am the guardian ad litem, but in a lot of situations, I'm the attorney and I have a client that has a guardian ad litem. So the topic is like, and we also talk about this, by the way, a lot in our lawyer groups, and I see it posted in a lot of different forums, people who are talking about like a rogue guardian ad litem or a bad guardian ad litem, or what do you do to get rid of a guardian ad litem? So you can file a motion to have a guardian ad litem discharged, but you need to really make sure that it is for a good, solid reason. Like that this person has some clear bias in some way, or this person has completely failed to do their job in some way. And the reason that I say this to you is because otherwise you are just wasting your resources. I literally don't think, I can tell you for sure, I have never had a judge discharge me as a guardian ad litem. I have had a judge discharge someone as a guardian ad litem, but in that particular situation, the guardian ad litem had failed to issue a report by the deadline that she was given and really didn't have any reason for that whatsoever. So guardians have to follow certain rules. Like we have to have a report is due 20 days prior to any sort of like evidentiary hearing or trial or something like that. So if you're not going to have it in by that point in time, you need to have the party's permission. Sometimes you end up not writing a report. For my cases, a very overwhelming majority of time they end up settling, but they don't always end up settling. However, there's always going to be a parent who's unhappy with a guardian ad litem. Sometimes both parents are unhappy with the guardian ad litem, but it is very rare as a guardian that both parents are happy with me. I can count maybe 5 or 10 cases ever that both parents are happy with me, because most of the time, at least one of them is not liking my recommendations. And the recommendations of a guardian, at least a guardian who has a good reputation, are going to carry a lot of weight. And if we have the ability to disclose hearsay, which is in a lot of the orders that guardians are allowed to bring hearsay information in front of the court, then it also sort of further ensures that as long as you have like a good guardian who does this work and understands how it all works and the relationships of the parties and what to look for in situations, it would be pretty rare for a judge to just ignore that or not heavily consider it. Now, that doesn't mean they always do what we're recommending, for sure. That's not true. But it usually is very heavily considered. So back to this topic of discharging a guardian ad litem. I have had multiple motions to discharge me filed. It just never ends up happening because I'm a professional person and I have the, if I felt that I was biased, I would remove myself from a case. I have done that before. And really bias or failure to do your job are the only reasons you're going to get discharged as a guardian. So, for example, I have had someone recently file to discharge me on the basis that I was not doing my job, but I had billed like 35 hours in the month before that. So if I have done 35 hours worth of work, then I am more than clearly doing my job. So it was really just a waste of that person's money. And honestly, it annoys me at the attorneys who file these motions, not because I have to put up with it. Like, I don't really care, but I am annoyed on behalf of their client a lot of times because people don't have unlimited resources, and guardian ad litems and family law litigation is expensive. Haley, I don't know what other means. So if you can type the question better, I'll try to answer it before I sign off. So, what happens when you don't like the direction that a guardian ad litem is going? In my opinion, I'll tell you what normally happens. What normally happens is when a parent does not like the direction a guardian ad litem is going, they just cut off all contact. And in my opinion, it's literally like the worst thing you could do. If you feel like the guardian ad litem is going in a direction you're not happy with, then it's your job to feed information that backs up your perspective to the guardian ad litem, that's your job. Like, they're your children. This is your case. The guardian ad litem is there just doing their job. So make their job easier. Like, spoon feed them the information, get on their calendar, schedule calls with your attorney and the guardian, and provide the information that backs up your perspective to try to persuade them to see your perspective or to shift their thought process if you feel like it's not going in the right direction. But cutting off all contact, getting a nasty attitude, like, the nasty attitude's not going to influence my opinion or the direction of what I think should happen unless the nasty attitude is like so pervasive and so crazy and over the top that I'm actually just concerned for your ability to control yourself, which sometimes does happen. But those things are not gonna shift it, and filing a motion to discharge because you don't like their opinion is not going to shift it. Help them to understand better. And if people aren't working, get rid of them, because that does actually happen quite a bit. When do I recommend having a guardian ad litem? So look, I will say that I probably am not the norm, but because I am like a huge advocate of guardian ad litems, because overwhelmingly my experience has been positive with guardian ad litems, and that might have to do with the fact that I have been doing this a long time and I am familiar with the guardian ad litems in the South Florida area. So Tampa and East Coast South Florida, I think are very guardian ad litem friendly areas, right? They get used a whole lot in those areas, and there are a lot of options to choose from, and most of the guardians who work in those two areas a lot, who do a lot of guardian work, are well known, and you can kind of trust and predict that they're going to see what you're going to see as an attorney. So because of all that, I'm a huge fan of guardians, and I like to use them basically anytime there is a parent that is trying to significantly decrease the other parent's time sharing, or is trying to have it be supervised, or is trying to have it be therapeutic, or needs reunification counseling or something like that. So basically, if there are issues that make it anything other than sort of like your standard 60-40, 50-50 kind of parenting plan, I like to get a guardian ad litem involved, and that sometimes also includes relocations, although it kind of goes either way with me. Also, you want to take into consideration like who your client is. So in our office, we tend to not have or keep crazy clients, like people who have very unreasonable or irrational expectations and ideas. We don't take those cases to start with, and when one of them occasionally slips by, we nip that in the bud. So that's probably another factor in us liking to use guardians. If you're one of these lawyers that sort of takes cases without a lot of discretion, maybe you're going to have a different opinion. So I like them a lot. Substance abuse, domestic violence, any kind of like abuse, abandonment, neglect allegations, parent abandonment, a parent being gone for a long period of time. All of those cases are cases where I'm going to want a guardian ad litem. And also, if you're just trying to, if you're trying to advocate for your position in regards to taking away something that a parent already has, a lot of times you're going to want to use it then. The biggest benefit, like I mentioned on the last one, of a guardian ad litem is this hearsay thing, man, because as a guardian, I can look at videos, I can listen to audio recordings, I can talk to neighbors, I can talk to psychologists, teachers, counselors, cousins. I can talk to everybody, and I can most importantly talk to the kids and get their perspective and then relay it back to the court, and you can't get that any other way. But you do have to be careful who you're choosing.